How's it going, everybody? Today I'm finally going to be reviewing Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 1, The Red Woman. Spoilers for this episode. If you've not seen it, go over this episode, then come back here. So I'm a diehard Game of Thrones fan, always repping House Stark, even though they have the worst luck possible. But this is my favorite show on TV, so I'm going to be doing these reviews for as much as I can. I'm going away for a couple weeks to Europe for a bit, so I won't have, I think it's like Episode 6, 7, and 8. Those reviews, I might have to do a full recap once I get back, so just be aware of that. But I'm going to keep you informed up until then, that's for sure. So this episode was a great setup episode. Kind of let everyone know where we are with each character, and I'll kind of go through where everyone is, and just a recap of what I liked and what I didn't like about those areas. So might as well start off where we ended last season. Jon and the Night's Watch. Jon's dead. He's dead. I've always thought he actually is dead. I am a book reader, but they're going way off book, and plus they're going past the books nowadays, so it doesn't really mean much. But I've thought Jon is actually dead just because of how it ended, and I think he will be brought back, and I believe that it will be at the hand of Melisandre. But as of right now, he's dead. Davos finds him just bleeding out. Meanwhile, a bunch of them, like Ed, they're all keeping him safe. But Ed goes out, he's got to get some support from the wildlings. They're the only ones that will support them. Meanwhile, Alistair's kind of being a dick again. And basically, I think he believes that he's doing it for the good of the Night's Watch. But, I mean, I still don't like him. I don't like him, especially Ollie. Ollie's grown a little bit. You can tell he's a little aged a little bit. But, yeah, that's basically what's going on up north. Then at Winterfell, we get Ramsay, and he's looking over the body of Miranda. And you kind of see a little bit of heart from Ramsay, not that he's a good person at all, but then afterwards we get his very brutal line of just feed her to the dogs is fine. And he has a conversation with his father and how the dogs are going after Theon. He's like talking about how Roots is basically telling him like how the battle, like what he gave up in order to get Sansa to marry him, and you better get her back because you don't want to face a Lannister army. This was Stannis' army was nothing. The Lannister army is what you got to fear. But then I think probably my favorite moment in the episode was Theon and Sansa on the run. And as soon as I got caught again after going through the water, I was like, "Are you kidding me? They can't catch a break. They seriously cannot catch a break." And I'm like, they're really gonna go back to Winterfell already. And then Brienne comes and kicks ass. It was my fist pump moment of the week. So I was super excited to see that we got Brienne kicking ass, and it wasn't even a clean fight. Like she got hurt in the process. But everyone had their little moment to shine. Theon saving Pod. Pod, he's not the best fighter, but holding his own. And then we get the great moment where Brienne bows to Sansa, and they have that little exchange similar to the one that Catelyn had with Brienne. Meanwhile, Jaime returns, and Cersei just looks like in her lowest point, pretty much, that now her daughter's died, who is a good-hearted person, and Jaime just explaining kind of what's going on and what it means and all that, and a good exchange. I mean, I like Jaime, but man, your sister's crazy. Your sister's crazy. I mean, I kind of feel for her and how she's believing in the prophecy, and Jaime's like, no, like don't believe that stuff. Like you make your own fate. But I like that whole interaction. I just wish Jaime would just open your eyes. Your sister's crazy. And meanwhile, down in Dorne, we get some craziness happening out of nowhere. I feel like they're just almost retconning the not so favorite part of last season, where all of a sudden they just kill Prince Doran and they kill Areo-Hota, and the Sand Snakes are taking over basically. And I'm just like, holy crap, Dorne has been this peaceful place for so long, and they're just taking out people left, right, and center. It kind of caught me off guard. I was like, wow, Sand Snakes are ruling Dorne now. That's what it seems like. And then back at the ship, on the other hand, Trystane is in there, and with the other two Sand Snakes, and they're like, we're going to kill you, basically, who do you want to fight, type thing. And then I didn't see this death coming, all of a sudden the spear through the back of the head, Trystane's dead. I was like, oh, that was another, like, wow, I thought Trystane would have had a bigger part to play. Obviously not. Meanwhile, in the cells of King's Landing, you got Marjorie, and she's talking with the High Sparrow, and she wants to get out of there, and you gotta, you're not a perfect person, he says, you just confess, you need to confess, even though she didn't really do much. She also just, I guess, hide her brother's sexual orientation, but that was about it. But she's got to confess. She's basically saying, what the High Sparrow's saying is not necessarily false, because no one's perfect, but at the same time, she's in there for not the right reasons. Then we get Tyrion and Varys out in Meereen. They're talking about the Harpies and how now Varys has got his little birds. He's finding out who's gonna rule this place. There's a great comedic moment, I guess, when he says like, "I'm gonna eat your baby," basically. So I like seeing that humor. There was a little bit of humor from Tyrion. Obviously, he brings a lot of that. And but by the end of that, we find out there's fire, and I believe I heard one of the extras in the background say it's Drogon or whatever that burnt all the ships there. Whether it is Drogon or whether it was the Harpies remains to be seen. It could be either or. I'm curious to see who's actually leading these Harpies. Like, could it be Daario? I mean, we thought it might have been his Dar last season, but he died from that cause, so I'm not too sure if it actually is him or not. Then Jorah and Daario are out on the road. They've come across the ring that Daenerys left there, where the horde of Dothraki surrounded her, so they found that. And I like how the conversation between Daario and Jorah was like, "Hey, you're in the friend zone, basically. Hey, I find it admirable that like you love this woman and you keep trying. I mean, you're a good person, obviously, a romantic, as he called them. So I like to see their pairing. I think they're going to have a good back and forth for the season." Another great moment was Daenerys and all the cows, and how she can understand the language, and what they were saying to her was kind of brutal. I'm not going to repeat any of that, but what they were saying was brutal. And he comes with Cal Jacko, I think that's the cow's name there, and they have that exchange, and she reveals that, "Hey, I was married to Khal Drogo, so you." And he's like, "Okay, I believe you. I'll let you free or whatever. I won't hold it against you. I won't take you back with me. But you got to go to Vaes Dothrak and be with all the other widows of other cows." So that'll be cool to see how she escapes this place, if she does, if she doesn't, and whatnot's to come. Then we get Arya and Braavos, and she's basically begging for food on the street. She's blind. And meanwhile, the girl comes by, which could be Jaqen H'ghar. And they fight each other, and they have some great combat scene where Arya pretty much is useless. Reminds me of Daredevil, kind of, because Daredevil's blind. But obviously she'll be training in the streets, it seems like, not necessarily in the temple nowadays. So Arya's been one of my favorite characters from the beginning. Her last season was slowed a little bit, but I still am very interested to see how she overcomes this blindness and whether or not she gets back on the other side of the sea and avenges her family. And then finally, at the end of the episode, we get the Melisandre reveal, where you find out she's old. She's centuries old. I watched the inside of the episode where they said she's centuries old, and we kind of get to see. I mean, as soon as she started to unbutton, we're like, "Oh, there, she's getting naked again." But it turned out to be this other scene where she takes off the bracelet necklace thing that was around her neck, and you see the color fade from it, and then it cuts to the mirror, and she's old and decrepit and just really hunched over, and you got to see a different side of Melisandre. You kind of don't like her because you let Shireen burn last season, but at the same time, I'm rooting for her. I think she's going to sacrifice herself in order to save Jon Snow and resurrect him. That's my prediction. Who knows if that comes true. But overall, this episode, it was a solid setup episode. It's not going to be like my favorite of the season, but I kind of expect this first one out of the gate to kind of be like this in typical Game of Thrones fashion, where it's not necessarily all action, balls to the wall type deal. I like the Brienne scene, was my favorite part of the episode, but overall, a very solid episode. Not too many negatives. I'm a diehard fan, so it's going to be hard for me to pick out negatives because I'm so invested with a lot of those characters. I guess the Dorne part, just because it felt very rushed and how they killed them all, might have been my only real negative-ish, if it wasn't even a negative. I don't know. But yeah, overall, like the episode. Let me know your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Again, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more videos each and every week. That is it. Now I'll talk to y'all later.